We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships.
This is the Couples Academy Show. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani, and I'm glad to be with you here this morning. This is 30 minutes of information to get you started on your day. Some of you are in drive time. Some of you are already at work, or maybe you're working from home or taking a stroll through the park or drinking a cup of coffee with your spouse, wherever you may be. We're glad to have you. We just want to honor and acknowledge the people who call in or dial in or tune in from all across the United States. I tell you, our audience has been growing on the continent of Africa, in Europe, in the Caribbean, Central South America, Asia. The only place that we're not is in Antarctica, and I don't even know if that's possible, but we're glad to have you with us. You are all members of this community, and so we just want to encourage you as we get started to like, share, and subscribe, because we want other people to know. Now, I know we say that every day, and you're probably like, yeah, okay, we're going to like, share, and subscribe, but you don't do it because I'm looking at this, right? So all you need to do is just share it with somebody who you know is going through a situation today. Listen, guys, we're going to be talking about a new topic today. We've talked about this in the past, but I'm finding out more and more it's a relevant topic for us to delve into. We're going to be talking about how to overcome anger in your marriage. It's really important, but before we do that, a couple announcements of things that are coming up this month. By your request, we have our Sex After Betrayal Masterclass. Actually, that says $297. That's incorrect. It is $197. $197. I will make that change. The link is in the description. All you need to do is go to the description portion of this video, sign up. If you are a member of the Moving Forward program, this is a part of your membership. And so we're glad that membership has its privileges. So you don't have to worry about registering. You don't have to worry about a thing. It's already included. But if you are not a member of the Moving Forward program, get your spot before it is too late. We're going to be covering a lot of things because, as you know, there are challenges that people experience after an affair, and the impact that it has on sexual intimacy is pretty interesting. Pretty diverse. We go through different phases and stages, and between now and then we're going to start seeding, topics of conversation that will lead us up to that 4-hour masterclass. But 4 hours of not only great information, but we're going to take you on an experience. There are going to be exercises, there are going to be conversations that you're going to want to engage in right there with your partner virtually, as we all get a chance to up-level that area of our lives. So make sure you register for that. Also, as you know, monthly we have our Last Chance Weekend. It is the 3rd weekend of this month, March 19th through the 21st. There's still room for that, and we encourage you to be there. Before we get started, let's just acknowledge some members of the family. A Jaguar, good morning. Danielle, Kia again, 2 Kias, all right. A faithful Mrs. Jones. I like that. Remember the song Me and Mrs. Jones? Yeah, we got a thing going on. Stephen Johnson, Clarence, Arlisha, Rachel, good morning. Facebook user, Torre, Mary, Didi, they are coming in, and we are glad to have you. So let's dive into today's topic. We're talking about how to overcome anger in your marriage. Now, here's the reality. Some people, their anger is a part of their makeup. It's a part of their personality. You know, they came into this world with this underlining anger, and it rises up at different times throughout the course of their lives, different seasons of their relationship. And then there are other people who experience an event, who experience a trauma, and something shifts in them, and then anger begins to come out. And think about many years ago when we had the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Remember how it was underneath the ocean and the oil just kept coming out and coming out and coming out, and there was nothing that they could do to close up or seal up that leak. And millions of gallons of oil really destroyed everything in the environment, the water, the coastal lines. It impacted wildlife, our food supply. And so oftentimes anger can be like that. Not only does it impact the individual who's struggling with it, it infects and impacts everyone in his or her circumference. And so this is why this is something that you want to get a hold of, because anger is destructive, not just to the world, but to yourself as well. And so we've noticed that, I mean, think about this. Think about a soda can, right? That's carbonated, this carbonated liquid in there. If you start shaking that thing up and then you open it up, how it will just explode and erupt. That's exactly how someone who's struggling with anger deals with their situation. It's a highly intensified emotion that is very difficult to control. And let me just say that, you know, we can look at it ways. Number one, it manifests in people differently. We've said this before, that there's two types of manifestations. We have, number one, what is called the person who represents the internal hurricane. The internal hurricane is the individual who's fuming on the inside. They're seething, they're raging, they're ready to rip somebody's head off, but you would never know it because outwardly they don't give an indication that anything is wrong. Now, this is challenging because one never knows. Like, I'm experiencing my own thing within me, but no one else knows. And so now I'm wondering why no one shows me the level of compassion and sensitivity and empathy that I'm looking for. Why doesn't anyone check in with me? Why does it seem like the world is against me? Because I am not doing anything to let the world know. And oftentimes this is a person who will suppress and suppress and suppress and bottle things up, and they're actually making matters worse because it gets to a point where that person will explode, right? So they've suppressed so long, and then something so simple, something that may have nothing to do with anything, tips them off, and boom, there's an explosion. That's how the person with the internal hurricane operates. But in the meantime, they may operate in passive aggressive type of tendencies where they sabotage themselves, they sabotage their relationship. These are individuals who may do things out of spite in an indirect way to impact their partner or whoever they're angry with, but they don't come out and directly deal with the issue. And oftentimes that can cause a disconnect in the relationship. And once you have a disconnect and a breach, that relationship is susceptible to all types of things. If you're that individual who is an internal hurricane type personality, let me know who you are, because this is something that people struggle with. And then you have the individual who is the external hurricane. These are the individuals that wear their emotions on their sleeve, and guess what? The world knows it. It's just like, why is this dude upset again? What are you upset about? Why are you tripping? It seems like no matter what it is, there's something there. Now, one thing about the person who really struggles with anger, a lot of times they deny it. They deny the obvious, even though the world can see it. To the person who struggles with anger, the world is crazy and they don't understand me, and they're just misinterpreting and they just don't get it. Or if they really understood, why I feel the way I feel, they would think, what, it's not anger, it's justified, right? But the reality is, anger manifests itself differently, and there's something called the anger ladder chart, okay? Now think about a ladder. A ladder has several rungs that take you from the bottom all the way to the top. And so I want to talk to you about the 5 anger ladder rungs, okay? And if you experience any of these, yes, it is an outward an outward manifestation of anger, but it's on a different level. But at the core of it all, it's anger. So the first rung, if you will, the lowest form of intensity when it comes to anger, is the person who's just annoyed. You come across somebody that's just annoyed, like something's always annoying them. Oh my God, they're looking around, why is this out of place, and why this and why that? Or somebody says something, or people are just being themselves, but I'm just annoyed and just off-put about people's personalities and the way people do things because they don't do it a particular way. Always annoyed. That is an outward expression of anger. If we go up to the next rung of anger, it is upset. People were just upset about things and you don't know why. Like, why would that throw you off? And why would that cause you to react like that? They're just always in this space of being upset about something. If we go higher up the rung, this is a person who's just frustrated, right? And the thing about it is, all of these different levels have a different impact on the mind and on the body. So the way that they express themselves, interestingly enough, the higher up the rung of anger these individuals go, they begin to experience something that happens in their physical body where their body actually heats up. They get hotter and hotter and hotter. Higher up this rung they go. Then the next rung up is anger, right? A person who's angry, they become uncontrollable in the way that they think. They become very full of heat in their bodies, and they have to do something to express that anger. And then the highest level is what we call furious, right? That's highly emotionalized emotions and frustration that take you to a place where you're about to blow and explode on everyone around you. So number one, annoyed. Number two, upset. Number three, frustrated. Number four, angry. And at the top, number five, furious. When you think about you, when you think about your partner, what level or what rung on this anger ladder do you find yourself constantly in? And what is it that is causing your anger? We want to hear from you on the other side of this break. Listen, guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We have a few announcements we're going to take you to, and we'll be right back for further explanation. All right, guys, we're talking about anger, having this conversation to really unpack, what is happening to people and why people do what they do when they become angry. And as I'm looking at the comments, people says, good morning. Yes. Annoys me. That's from Vincent. Then we have, yes, spiteful. Natural says ring or rung 5. Then who do we have here? Oh, wow. Yeah, you've got those signs, rung 5. Kia says, I found myself on this continuum. This is a real thing. Corliss says, my anger comes from the games my husband continues to play, but says he will never leave me, and if I want a divorce, this is just popping. If he wants a divorce, would not give me one, which is nuts. Yeah, I can understand how these circumstances that you're in are making you angry. The Bible, says be angry, but sin not, right? So there's something that you have to begin to do with that level of anger. And you've heard me talk about this before, guys. I just want to be, I want to repeat things because repetition is the mother of all learning. We've talked about the power of accumulation. And what happens is when water accumulates to a certain mass, it becomes destructive. Otherwise, if it's filtered off, we can drink with it, we can wash with it, we can cook with it, right? Electricity, when it amasses to a certain degree, it becomes very destructive. It can kill, but when filtered off, it can power machines and turn on lights and energize equipment. And so it's not so much about the emotion, but what you do with the emotion, right? Righteous indignation is a form of anger. When we talk about many of our leaders, Martin Luther King was angry. Malcolm X was angry. Mahatma Gandhi was angry. Mother Teresa, angry. They were angry about their conditions and their circumstances, and they took that anger and did something with it. See, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when you begin to move. And on this emotional scale, we have anger and rage at one extreme, but on the other extreme is sadness and depression. Sadness and depression causes you to want to do nothing. You want to lay in the bed all day. You want to turn out the lights. You just don't feel like getting up. You don't want to brush your teeth. breathe, you don't want to eat, all you want to do is sleep because there's no energy. There are no, emotions are nothing more than energy in motion, right? So when you're in a depressed, sad state, there's no energy, so therefore there's no emotion. But as you begin to transition to the other side of that scale and you're angry and full of rage, that's a highly intensified emotion, and there's something that you have to do with it. So this energy that is now in motion, you can choose whether it's going to be productive or not so productive. And so you have a choice every single day. So that's why the Bible says, be angry, but sin not, knowing that there will be situations and circumstances in your life that will cause you to become frustrated and annoyed and discouraged. But it's what you do with those emotions that make all the difference in the world. D says, I'm angered furiously with lies, especially when they are obvious. Understood. That makes a lot of sense. My anger sometimes may be my anger may sometimes even be flimsy stuff. When you see them, you'll laugh at yourself, mostly misunderstood communication. Yeah, these are the things that people are going through. Natural says, the lies, gaslighting, and playing on my intelligence makes me so angry. I can understand that. Then we have Debbie, who says, over 35 years of marriage, I have gone through all the 5 levels. Sometimes I do not verbally speak it, but my body language says it all. My patience has worn out. And that's another thing when it comes to your body language. You don't even have to form your lips to communicate anything, because your body language, we know that your body language is 70% of your communication. It is your nonverbal, right? So the facial expressions, your gestures, and what you do with your body indicates something. And sometimes that message can be or can speak louder than your words. Angie says, after a while, I get furious, especially if I continually express what I need to heal and it's not done in a way that I need it to be done. And so let me tell you something, guys. Many of you are going through healing in your relationship, and the pace and the speed and the rate of your healing is impacted by your partner's ability and I won't say inability, because they have the ability, their ability or unwillingness to show up. And so this is where, once again, empathy and compassion comes in. And you got to realize that healing is a process. It takes time, and you need to show yourself to be consistent in this journey in order to help your partner get to a place where they're no longer seething in anger. They've gotten to a place where they've released it. And that's one of the things that I want to talk to you about, how to begin to release this anger. There's a number of things that you can do. So if you're the person who has all of this pent up animosity and frustration and just rage on the inside of you, or maybe you're just always annoyed and things always just get under your skin, there's got to be a way that you, much like with the power of accumulation, you filter this stuff off. And so some practical things that you can do daily. Number one is pray. You know, the Bible says to cast your cares upon the Lord, because when you do that, you're transferring. It's called energy transfer. He's saying, transfer all of your cares to me. Transfer your pain, transfer your depression, transfer your anger, all the things that are frustrating. Throw all of those cares that are weighing you down and heavy on your mind and on your heart, transfer them to me so that you can function in a healthier way. So the power of prayer will do that, because when you tap into your spiritual source, there is a presence that comes over you, and there's an energy that begins to emanate within you that is unexplainable. There's a peace that you begin to experience that is so necessary when you're going through challenging times. Another thing that you can begin to do is meditate. Let me tell you something. Everybody has their own understanding or idea of meditation. Some are into, Eastern transcendental meditation, where they clear their minds and things of that nature. But if that's not your tradition, you're like, well, is meditation even good for me? Is it okay to do? Yes, because meditation is zoning your mind in on a particular thing. It allows for concentration on because think about it, you meditate a lot of times on bad things. You meditate on what you don't want. Why not take a chance to meditate on what you do want? And so when you get into a meditative state, because you've calmed yourself down, you've blocked out all the noise, you've removed all the distractions. Even the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. And when you take the time to do that and to close your eyes and to begin to visualize and to slow your breathing down, then all of a sudden you're in a state where anger cannot exist. For light and darkness, good and evil, anger and peace cannot operate in the same space. The next thing you want to do is exercise. Just get it out. Get it out. Get on that treadmill. Start running. Start jogging. Release all that stuff, all that toxicity, so you'll be in a better place. These are some of the tips that you can do, guys. If you're not doing it, what are you waiting for? We're trying to help you overcome the anger in your marriage. We're going to continue this conversation. Give your questions. Make your comments. We'll be right back after this repeat announcement. Hey guys, we're back. We're talking about anger. Love the comments that are coming in. Let's go to a few of them to see what the people have to say. All right. Oh, I already read that. Sorry about that. Listen, I added a faithful over 8 years ago, so my intentions are clear. I feel hot with anger when feeling deceived. I guess you're saying that someone was unfaithful to you and you're still dealing with that particular anger. Listen, guys, yes. See, the thing is, people say, well, man, it was 8 years ago. You should be better by now. And technically, you should be better by now. Let's just be honest, right? The further you are away from a trauma, the better you should be in your recovery process. But the reality is, it's not just going to go away on its own. It's going to require that you do something about it. It's going to require that you grab that steering wheel and you begin to drive and take control of your life. Sometimes we sit in the passenger seat and we allow our emotions to plot the course for us. And when we do that, because our emotions and our feelings are fickle, it can send us in all different types of directions. And that's why it seems like we're just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning out of control. But when you begin to properly manage what you're going through and you have a partner who's willing to assist you in that process, you can heal. It doesn't have to take 8 years. It really doesn't even have to take 3 years. It can happen a lot faster depending. Listen, we've known couples who after a few months, they were back where they needed to be because they took the work serious. And so the question is, will this stuff work that we're talking about? It'll work if you work it, but you got to be able to work it, folks. Jason says, I've been fighting frustration and depression, not knowing whether to give up or receive details. Well, you don't want to give up. You don't want to call it quits. There's so much to live for. You have to understand that there's life beyond the depression. There's life beyond the frustration and the anger. And so you have to be so committed to wanting something more. You've got to fall in love with the possibility of what can be. Just think about a person who is in physical pain. If they are in pain, the only thing that they can think about is getting out of that pain. So they'll Google, they'll research, they'll go to one doctor, one physician, get a second or third opinion because they're just trying to get rid of the pain. The worst feeling is to get so discouraged that you just live in your pain and say, well, maybe these are just the cards that have been dealt me. Maybe this is just the way that it's supposed to be. If you are not motivated to get out of your own pain, then my God. And so listen, guys, you don't have to be where you are. There's another level. And you don't have to make incremental adjustments and tweaks where you're gradually improving. You can make a quantum leap forward in your success to overcome the challenges that you're going through. But it requires specific steps to get you there. And so that's why we're talking about this topic today. Then Gigi says, if I continuously express what needs to be done to help me heal, and it's not being done how I need it to be, I get furious because I feel that I'm still being played with. Yeah. And so this is what, I don't know how you're showing up. I don't know how your partner is showing up. But oftentimes what happens is when there's any type of pain or hurt or betrayal, the couple, right, the partners in the relationship take on a very adversarial type of relationship where there's constant digs and name callings and you don't do this and why don't you do that? And a lot of times we're expressing our feelings when we're in our feelings, and that frustration and that anger comes out. And a lot of times a partner can be shut down. And so this is why you have legitimate needs and concerns that need to be met and acknowledged and worked on. I would encourage you, I don't know how your dynamic is, but I would encourage you to get in a conversation that's safe, where you can talk about what's going on in the relationship and express concerns and express what's needed in a healthy, harmonious way. Because sometimes it's not how it's said, or sometimes it's not what it said, but it's how it's said. And so if you're angry, the last thing you want to talk about is how to fix that situation in your relationship when you are angry. Not assuming that you are, but I'm just giving you some guidelines that will help your partner to be more open, to be more willing and more motivated to do whatever it takes. My King Thoughts says, some anger is okay. It's how long you stay in anger that will grow to wrath. Good point. Good Book says, Ephesians 4:26, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. I couldn't have said it better myself. Listen, guys, it's so critically important that if you're angry, you don't want to sleep in that. Because what happens is whatever thought you're thinking and whatever feeling you're experiencing, when you take that into a restful state, you have to understand that is when there is a transference of your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. There's a crossing that takes place. And the reason why you can breathe and your heart beats and you have a pulse while you're asleep is because your subconscious mind takes over your system. So it allows you to function when you're not consciously thinking about it. But at the same time, the subconscious mind is like a sponge. It consumes, it records, it accepts everything as a fact. And so if you are bringing that temperament, that mood, that attitude into your sleep, you are training your subconscious mind to accept this as a normal behavior, a normal emotion, a normal feeling, and then it will record it in your body. And so when you wake up the next day, you now have a shift in your personality because you've practiced the habit of bringing anger and resentment and frustration and bitterness into your sleep state. So not only does it interrupt the quality of your sleep, some people toss and turn, some people have light sleep, some people can't really get that deep, calm sleep because of their emotional state. So not only does it affect your sleep, it affects when you are awake, and it affects your overall personality. See, because when you are used to practicing a certain behavior long enough, it makes you a different person. Habits form a different reality in your life. And so one way to keep from going angry or going to bed angry is to have a conversation with your spouse and say, listen, I know we have some issues that still need to be resolved. We're not finished with this conversation. I want to pick it up, but I got to release this thing. So listen, let's just make amends. Let's just make peace. I'm sorry. I apologize for how I said what I said, how I did what I did. Babe, I receive your apology too. I just want to release it, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow and dig further into this issue, because you need to heal yourself for yourself. But if you are seething in anger, revenge, bitterness, resentment, frustration, annoyance, or any of those things, it will begin to wear you down. It will affect your entire DNA. It will affect your immune system. A lot of times we experience physical sickness in our bodies because our emotions are unhealthy and sick. And so guys, I hope that having this conversation would spark some thoughts for you and would help you to become the best version of yourself. We're going to continue having conversations like this. Whatever topic you want to discuss, please put it in the chat. We are really careful and cautious about giving you information that'll take you to the next level. And listen, before we leave, folks, remember, sign up for the masterclass. It's coming up this month on, I believe it is March 27th. This is a session that you do not want to miss. You've been asking for it. We're here now giving it to you. Make sure you take advantage. Love you guys. See you tomorrow for another great episode. And I promise it'll be better because I'll have my boo thing sitting right next to me. All right, guys. See ya. This is the Couples Academy Show. If you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you're interested in one of our restoration programs, contact us today at couplesacademy.org.